Good morning, YouTube. This is an article that's appeared on the Telegraph Online this morning. It's entitled, "More than 80,000 shops could close by 2017 without an overhaul of business rates." Now, I'd like to read to you a couple of comments that I've placed at the bottom of this article. Bear with me. Although government will never admit it, it is in fact government itself which is the only real problem. Government, along with the taxes it must levy in order to continue to sustain itself. You see, government is totally unproductive in an economic sense, and as such it must feed off the productive sector of our society. And the bigger government becomes, the more it must demand from the real economy in order to survive, constantly draining away the precious economic energy of our society. Economic energy which in any decently run nation, in a nation with a small government, would be ploughed back into the very businesses that actually produced it in the first place, so helping to increase their productivity and through that their ability to compete on the world stage, instead of merely being thrown into the bottomless pit known as government. As a wise man once said, the power to tax is actually little more than the power to destroy, and through its taxation, our government has now completely destroyed our economy. It continues to grow ever larger, whilst the resources it demands become ever more difficult to find. Eventually, both will die, the parasite and the host, at which point, of course, it all begins all over again, with limited government, sound money, and the freedoms that come with them. You know, those very same freedoms that we seem to lose ever more of with each passing day. Now, I'm an Englishman, but whether you're an American, an Australian, an Irishman, from any nation, I'm sure you will agree that that above statement applies to your nation too. Now, a little bit of a statement on the free markets. To anyone out there who may be mistakenly thinking that we live in a true free market economy, I can assure you we do not. You see, government now interferes in almost every aspect of our economy, from the setting of the cost of borrowing, interest rates, right down to the implementation of a minimum wage. And if you look at the actions of government in an intelligent fashion, you will in turn realise that with almost every move it makes, government is actually attempting to offset a problem it will have itself created with one of its previous interferences. The truth is, free markets are referred to as such for a very good reason. That reason, of course, being that they are actually meant to be free of all external interference, especially from government. They are actually meant to be allowed to operate based purely upon the supply and demand fundamentals, a situation which I am sure you will agree is now far from the case. Now, Britain, obviously, we once had probably one of the greatest empires ever to have arisen on the face of planet Earth, and at that time Britain was we were in control of almost 1/3 of the planet, a situation that came about due to the fact that we were the greatest manufacturing nation on the face of planet Earth. All we used to import in the main into the UK were the raw materials we required to manufacture the goods that we then shipped all over the globe. Now, this point proves that the bigger government becomes, the more of a drain on society it becomes. Did you know that at the very height of the British Empire, at a time when Britain controlled almost 1/3 of the globe, government employees numbered just short of 4,000 in total. I mean, just compare that to the many hundreds of thousands that we now have to sustain. And that is with our manufacturing sector now decimated in comparison to how it once was. So there you go, 4,000 employees in total, and they obviously were scattered all over the globe. They weren't merely based in the UK, but now we have many hundreds of thousands who are dependent upon the real economy, the manufacturing base, and as I've put there, the manufacturing base is now decimated in comparison to how it once was. So yes, government is actually the main cause of many of our economic ills. I mean, government not only does what's best for itself, but also those who spend a lot of money lobbying to buy influence in government, you know, the big corporations and such like, and government then steps in order to manipulate markets for their ends. So yes, government is to blame, and for the people to expect government to protect them from the situation, a situation that is in fact created by government, is madness. Bye bye.